Yo, Sin is not playing.
I'm so happy right now.
You're shot.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by divas.
Welcome to the Sin and Twin podcast.
There's a question I'm going to be asking all of my guests when they come on here, a couple actually. So the first question is, when did you fall in love with your craft? When did you fall in love with what you do? So Jay, we can start with you.
I was gonna say, Jay,
What was the moment?
So it's funny. I was saying before I never thought I'd be a singer, but before I actually started playing guitar, guitar was the first instrument that I learned. Me and my buddy and my cousin growing up, you know, I always had like a knack for music, and I always kind of had like that rhythmic thing in me. You know, like banging on stuff and, you know, drumming or
I
making
couldn't
beats and stuff.
stand it, man.
Even when I was 5, you know, they had videos of me at like family parties pretending I was playing the congas to some salsa.
Yo, driving
You know
down
what I
to
mean?
Florida in a minivan
was a
with
fucking
Jay.
nightmare, I bet.
Oh my gosh. I was like, dude, if you tap on one more thing, I'm going to lose my mind.
My family was the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always just had that kind of like musical tick in me, and my oldest sister, she got me into nu metal when I was about 9 or 10 years old. So, you know, I started listening to Korn, Linkin Park, Slipknot, you know, POD, bands like that. Did I say System of a Down?
No.
System of a Down, Mudvayne, you know. So anyway, so at the time growing up, me and my buddies we'd put on, you know, like Hybrid Theory and like sing the whole album through, and like we'd set up basically like the living room like it was a stage, and we'd have like stools that we'd get up on top of, and I'd be like screaming and singing.
Good times.
So and it's funny because it was actually in that moment where I knew this is what I was gonna do. You know, I might have been like 11 or 12 years old, you know, maybe 11, you know, before I got my guitar, which was around 12 or 13. And like I literally said to myself, like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get up on stage and I'm gonna, you know, be singing in a band. And then eventually my parents and my uncles and my friends' parents were all like, yo, you guys keep talking about this band thing. How are you going to start a band? You don't have instruments. And I was like, that's a good point. So, you know, we all agreed on getting an instrument, and guitar was mine. And, you know, we ended up starting a band, and I went through puberty, and I decided I'm not going to sing. It's not my thing. But here I am.
Here we are.
Here we are. I'm the frontman of Hamilton Fish.
And
But
you have
great.
not
That's
stopped since that moment.
never stopped, and you know, I'm really happy I never did, and you know, those bands inspired me so much that I knew, you know, at 10 that I was going to be on stage playing no matter what.
How about you, Paul? When did you fall in love with it?
This is a funny story. When I was like 4, my mom bought me one of those single like octave little keyboards that you could carry around that was like maybe as big as your forearm.
Mm-hmm.
She bought it. I think every parent buys their kid something like that to make noise when they're a kid. And the first thing I ever learned was the Halloween theme song by watching it. And I would play along to it. And then I started running around the house and I started playing theme songs. And I didn't think anything about it. And I just started playing along to different things on TV. And like started taking piano lessons. And I didn't like really fall in love with it until middle school. So I started playing drums, and I got my mom to buy me a drum set. And I didn't love it yet, but I was like, this just seems like the natural progression. And Tyler Buso, shout out to Tyler Buso,
T-Biz.
came over and he started learning guitar. And his guitar teacher taught him how to play the beginning of Interstate Love Song, Stone Temple Pilots.
Yep.
And I literally remember, because him and I would fuck around and do different things, and I remember him playing the beginning of Interstate Love Song and me like fumbling around on the drum set, and then like it went to the moment when it really kicks in, like 1, 2, 3, 4, da na 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 na, and we like the first time we played right along to it, and I was like, this is what it feels like to create something with somebody in a room, and I was like, this is when the moment hits you the first time, you're like, oh, this is different. This
Yeah.
feels different. And I was like, I want this. This
Yes.
is what I want. I want to be in the room for the moment. And I knew I was like 14, 13. I was like, this is what I want to do. I don't care if it's success. I don't care if it's money. I don't care if it's playing in a bar when I'm 60 years old in a cover band. Like, this is going to be me.
Right.
And I just knew that moving forward, and I've just never stopped.
Shout out to parents for setting us up for
like
things like that.
For
right?
real.
Yeah, shout out to all our parents.
Yeah.
Shout out to mom and dad,
Absolutely.
Vera,
Absolutely.
We love you, mom
Absolutely.
and dad.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, our
Big
parents,
Dave Diggle.
Our parents
Big
took
Dave
Dave
our
Diggle,
parents took a
man.
lot, man.
Oh, man,
Oh, let
they
me
still
tell you
do.
something. As a sister to, you guys.
This.
Yeah, to this. Yeah, they
you were,
did.
You were kind of like the group sister. I'm not gonna mess
yeah,
around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to straighten Jay's band's hair before every show.
That's awesome.
Yo,
Yeah.
Andrew's hair with the straight.
Yeah, I used to
That's
hit
awesome.
everybody with the straightener. So
Wow.
how about you, Will? When did you fall in love with it?
I know.
Are you in love with it?
I know the exact.
He's
I
like,
am.
nah.
I know the exact moment where I found man, I would really love to do that one day. I remember my dad, big old Dave Diggle, when being 12 or 11 years old, he had a copy of the Kisses Super
I
Bowl.
knew this was gonna be a kiss
I
I
was
was
moment.
just
My
about
dad-
to, I didn't want to spoil
I
it.
didn't
My dad had a
He didn't tell
VHS
us.
tape of Kiss playing the Super Bowl way back. I think it was 1996 or something like that. But I remember watching Ace Frehley with the smoke guitar and the rockets shooting out and the fucking explosions going on, and and him playing those solos, and I'm like, man, that would be really cool to do. And I think the moment I knew when I fell in love with it was learning Fallen, which is one of our songs. In Jay's basement, and finally playing those leads and finally nailing the song all the way to the end, and just feeling like Ace Frehley, and I'm like, oh man, I'm finally him,
Jay,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to
I
get
made it.
pyrotechnics. That's
You
what that
know,
means.
so-
And that was actually before he was in the band. So
Exactly. So it's always been in the back of my mind that music has always been a big part of me and my brother's lives.
Right.
And I was like, I'm finally gonna put all into it and learn how to do this and do it. And as soon as I played something that I would never ever think that I could in my life, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go spend $1,000 on a new amp.
Yep.
And that's how it happens, and that's how you go
And that's how you go down the
bankrupt.
money
And I
hole.
He's
Yeah.
never financially recovered.
Exactly. Yeah.